Good afternoon. This is Dom Pelayo checking back in. It's been a little while since I recorded my first video. I have been rather busy, including I had some surgery and stuff. So I'm going to get back to recording these videos. I'm going to do it a little bit more frequently. We are 2 days away from our national election here in the United States. I have no idea who's going to win. It's so close, but I'm, of course, have my preference among the candidates, but Americans these days see things very, very different, and I do worry about the direction our country's going in. I was visiting my parents this morning, and my mother was just said she just wishes our country would split. That Democrats go one way, Republicans go the other, and we just have our own countries, our own systems of government. Sometimes that feels like that might be the best option, but we gotta somehow live together, and it's not easy sometimes. It's like we seem to get so uh there's a lot of anger and a lot of emotion behind a lot of these political campaigns, probably a little excessive. I mean, you know, in terms, I work in finance, so looking at it from my point of view, to me, it's really easy to see who the most knowledgeable person is about economics, about business environment, about hiring people, what's needed to help sustain a healthy economy. And I really don't feel like the Democrats understand that. A lot of times, they feel like it seems like they want to punish business and business owners, and it's like you have to have healthy business, a healthy business environment, so that people can get jobs, so that people can, and if you have a healthy business environment, competition for employees will allow for wages to rise. It's pretty straightforward, really. And it seems like they do everything they can to try to tamp down that environment. And I don't know. I don't really understand their line of thinking. But since my last video, um, I did have bariatric surgery. I've battled weight um, off and on most of my life. I've battled weight. About the only time that I was at a healthy body weight was when I was living outside the United States. I lived in Spain for a couple of years, and I got to a healthy body weight. It was easy to maintain there. Here in the United States, so that's one of the things I'm kind of hoping to see is uh, with RFK. I'm hoping that he's going to help maybe try to get some of this corrected here in the United States. I think part of it is the stuff they put in our food, but also in Europe. They walk a lot more than we do. When when I was living there, you didn't even need to have a car. You don't have to own a car. You can get around on foot for the most part. Cities were a lot more walkable. It didn't take very long to get, where you were going. It's just designed differently than it is here. Um, so we have to be, here in America, need to be a lot more conscious about getting exercise, about staying fit. Watching how much we eat. I'm a little over 3 weeks post op now, and I just this one of the things this surgery does is it forces you to slow down your eating, small bites of food, and really take your time. And it takes very little to to get full. And I started realizing that before my surgery how fast I was eating. It's like I would just eat very quickly and inhale food. um and I guess that's what led to my battling weight. But now I'm kind of forced to slow down and eat very little bit until I'm full. And It seems to be working so far. In July, I'm 6'1". In July, I weighed 315 pounds, which was the heaviest I've ever been in my life. Currently, this morning, I weighed in at 276 pounds. So I'm almost 40 pounds down from my high. And my goal is to get down to 200. I think I can probably be there, probably maybe midsummer next year. But we'll see. Um, just a thought. I've been thinking a lot. I'm 48 years old, and one of the when I was young, I thought a lot about myself. I thought a lot about my goals, my dreams, everything that I wanted to do for myself. And now that I'm 48, I've done a lot of the things that I wanted to do. In my life, I have a couple of other trips that I want to take, but overall, I feel that I've accomplished most of everything that I wanted to do in my life. Um, I am single guy. I've been married before, been divorced, been through all that. You guys are familiar with that whole ordeal, that trail of tears. But relationships just never really worked out for me. You know, there are reasons for that, but I'm not gonna get into all the specifics about that. But I've more or less decided to stay on my own now. I'm pretty comfortable being on my own. I can work on my own hobbies. I am. I've got a mess in this room right now. But I've been thinking a lot about my kids. I do have two daughters. My oldest is 20 years old. My youngest is about to be 13. And I think it's really important that we think longer term than just our own lifetimes. I think that's something that the wealthy do a lot of. They look beyond themselves into their future generations and their posterity. So I've made some changes to how I'm planning, like retirement and things like that. I had really wanted to retire at 62. That was my goal, is to retire at 62, and I can still do that. I think I could easily meet that. I'm I don't think I'm going to do that. I could do it, but I would have very little left to leave to my kids if I did it. So, what I have decided that I will do is that I'm going to work as long as I'm healthy. I'm going to stack as many long-term assets. And when I say long-term assets, I am talking about assets that will be here, that my family can be in my family's possession 50, 100 years down the road. And so when I'm thinking about long-term assets, I'm thinking about land, I'm thinking about precious metals, I'm thinking about maybe even some blue chip stock company, of companies. I'm also thinking about things like tools and just assets that that my kids can have 100 years from now. My great grandkids could have in their possession, things that will help them later on down the road. I've been thinking a lot. Oh, and another thing too, books. I know this sounds crazy, and some people. I have started building a library. That's part of my mess. I've got a pretty good sizable library right now, and that's going to get bigger. Um, I'm working on that. Building. I have a whole set of the Harvard Classics books, which covers a big chunk of information. I've got books on how to do things, making repairs around the house. I've got a wide range of books that I've been able to collect, and a lot of finance books. But I think it's important to pass that knowledge down to my kids. I have two daughters, so that library may get divided between them. I don't know how exactly that's going to work, but um, I'm hoping they'll have kids one day. They're both, to me, a little too young. My oldest is 20 years old, and my mother was 20 when she had me, but I just don't think she's financially ready for that responsibility. And there's a lot of responsibility in having children, and she'd have to have a good father for her kids, someone that's going to stick with her and help raise the children, right? People are very selfish these days. In the West, I think especially, it's like we got to start thinking about our kids and start thinking about our families and our posterity that we're leaving behind. So that is what I'm focused on right now. I'm not going to make this video too long, but I did want to just put something in your mind. If you may be my age, you might be older than me, you might be younger than me, and I would encourage all of you to think about your posterity. Think about 100 years from now, your future, offspring, your grandkids and great grandkids, and the situation they're going to find themselves in. Um, I would encourage everyone to think about quality when you're buying anything. I know it's real easy to buy the cheap stuff, and I do have some paperback books, but I'm really trying to focus on buying hardcovers now, really nice quality through like Easton Press books. Um, I think firearms are an important asset to leave for, to have for your family. Some people may disagree with that, and that's fine. I think having a means of self-defense is important. I'm not talking about being a Yahoo. I'm just talking about having just the basic, what you need to defend your family. I do have, you know, um, a few firearms myself. I do have a concealed carry permit. So, but I think it's I don't so I don't think it's a bad thing to have a few weapons in the home to be able to take care of your family. Um, I would encourage you to start stacking precious metals. There, the way things are going with debt, I feel like we're already seeing the price of gold explode upward. It's past 2,800. I don't think that's going to stop. It may take a little breather, but I think the price of gold's going to just continue to rise as the Federal Reserve keeps printing money. Silver too. If you feel like gold's too expensive, you can go with silver. You can even buy copper. Copper is a bit cheaper, but as we've seen that in the news where people are stealing copper and selling that. So, silver, copper, gold are all good metals to have. Platinum and palladium are also other precious metals that are out there. They also have scarcity, so that may be an option as well. Um, when it comes to blue chip stocks, when I say blue chip, I'm talking about companies that are going to be around 100 years from now. You could probably think about companies like Coca-Cola, McDonald's. You could probably think about Disney, um, Johnson and Johnson. There's a lot of many companies in the United States that you could see them being around 100 years from now. Um, so I have that reserved as a long-term portion of my portfolio that I'm thinking about my great grandkids or great grandkids that those could be assets for them. And then I have part of my portfolio that's kind of more midterm. That's like 25 to 50 years. And then I have a shorter term portfolio, under 25 years, which I'm a little bit more strategic with that. I do a little bit more with management of that portfolio. The midterm and long term assets are pretty fixed. I just keep adding to those positions. Um, I real estate. I think real estate's a great place to go. Any kind of fixed hard asset like real estate. The homes and the houses. It's like those are going to have some management and certainly some some maintenance costs associated with them. I'm actually just thinking about buying land and just holding it for future generations. Um, we'll see how that goes. You can always lease the land to people to grow agricultural commodities, or whatever, to feed to for cattle to graze on, or whatever you need to do. But so that's kind of the things I'm thinking about right now. I'm really just trying to put these ideas out there, things for people to think about. The kind of environment we're in right now, I think everybody needs to start thinking more long term about the long term health of their family. Certainly, in our own daily lives, things are difficult. Just trying to afford food, trying to afford, paying the cost of living right now. I would encourage you to use the debt snowball if you're battling some debt, some bills. Use the debt snowball method. That's where you take the smallest payment, the smallest debt that you have, and throw everything you can at it and just get it paid off. And then you roll over that payment into the next smallest, and then the next smallest, and the next smallest, and eventually get paid off. It's not technically mathematically the ideal way. The what they call the avalanche method is actually mathematically you're going to pay less interest, but there's a lot of psychological benefit to doing this debt snowball. People are more apt to stick with it with the debt snowball. So I would encourage using that method to get your debts paid off. If you feel like your debts are overwhelming, there are some things you can do in terms of debt settlement. Many of these companies will, if you're struggling, will settle your debt for 50-60% of the balance. Yes, that's gonna affect your credit score, so keep that in mind. But typically, if you settle it, it's better than not paying it, or bankruptcy, of course. So, just some things to think about. Um, I hope everybody has a great day. Everybody stay safe out there. Everybody try to keep their emotions in check. This election is very emotional, but the person that's going to be elected on Tuesday is going to be in office for 4 years. For 4 years, and that's it. Yes, 4 years can seem like a long time, but really, in the long scheme of things, it's fairly short. Markets, the markets could go up or down, whoever's in office. There's so many factors that go into affecting that. So let's just try to keep a level head about us, and we'll hope for the person that we want to win. And let me know if you have any ideas or questions or anything that you'd like to add. You can certainly add it in the comments. I will try to respond to everyone, and appreciate you listening to me for these last 18 minutes, and have a great day.